Okay, so we've already got these line segments broke up, but I'm going to go ahead and extend them out to see where they cross the Y-intercept. This is actually going to cross right here. This one is here. This one is here. Okay, so now all we have to do to find these are to find the slope and the Y-intercept, and we've already got the Y-intercept. So for -3 to -1, we go up 1 over 1, rise over run. Therefore, it is simply x, and it's going to cross at 0. So we don't have to put anything. That's it. Now, if we look right here, let me go ahead and clear these off because we're done with this. Now, if we're looking at this one right here, this one doesn't have a slope. And the y-intercept is -1, and it's always going to be -1. No matter what we put in between -1 and 0, the answer is always -1. So there it is. Now from 0 to 2, here's this graph. We go up 1 over 1. So it also has a slope of 1. So we're just going to put x there. But the y-intercept is -1. So we're going to subtract 1. Okay. Now, if we look at from 2 to 3, we're going to go down 1 over 1, which is going to give us a negative slope. So that's going to be a negative x. But what is the y-intercept? Well, it's going to be at +3 up here. Okay. We extended it on out right here. So it's going to be +3. So that's going to be your answer. Okay. Now then, let's go to page 7. We have sketched the graph of y equals 2 f of x and state the domain. So that's going to so 2 times f of x is going to equal y. So we're going to look at from -3 to, what was it? +3? Okay. And if we do that, what do we get? Well, what is -3 times 2? That would give us a -6. Okay. And then if we plug in a negative, if we plug in our 3, we got at 3, we had 0, 3, 0 would be, no, we don't need to look at 0 or 3. We need to look at 2 because 2 was our peak. Remember, if we looked at it, let me see if I can remember what it looked like here. We were at -1, and then we come down like this. We went up to 2 and then back down to 3. Yeah, so we want to look at 2 right here because that's going to be our highest peak. Okay, and what was it? It was 2. Okay, -3 was going to give us times 2 would have been -6. This x right here. Okay. And then 2 was, oh, whoops. This should have been 1 right here. It only went up to 1 here and then back down. So when we had 2, our y was 1 right here times 2 is going to give us our 2. Okay, that's probably a little bit confusing. So if we go look at, very confusing because I didn't draw my graph correctly. Okay, so if we look at -3, which is right here, our y value was -3. So we would multiply that by 2, and we would get 6. Now, we want to see what is the highest y. Where is y the greatest? So this is like the least, and this is the greatest. Well, it's the greatest at 2. Well, when x is 2, y is 1. So we would say 1 times 2, and that gives us 2. Therefore, it's going to be the greatest at there. And then it wants us to graph it. So if we were to actually graph it, we would get -6. And we just have to multiply all of these by, I'm going to do -1, gave us -1, so it would be down here at -2. So something like this, straight across. And then it's going to go up to -2 and then back down to 3. Sorry, I should have probably done that in a different color. Let me try it real quick. We'll go back to this purple. So -6 to -2 over on -2. And then we're going to jump up to 2 here and back down. If I did my line correct, or if I did my first graph correctly, that should be it. Okay, sketch the graph. Oh, well, that's where we should have done it here. -6 is going to go up to -2 over up to 2 and back down to 3. That should have been a little bit more straighter. Okay, that's the way it should look. So how does the range of y equals f of x compare to the range of y equals k of x? Well, the only difference is f of x is multiplied by k times k. That's it. But it would have to be, k's got to be greater than 1. So that's only different. How does the range of f of x compare? Yeah. Don't worry about that one. You won't have anything to do there. Letter E says, how does the domain of y equals f of x compare to the domain of y equals f of kx, where k is greater than 1? Okay. So since k is greater than 1, don't worry about that one. You don't need to know that one either. Because really what you're doing is dividing by k when you do that. So don't even worry about that one. Okay.